We're going to change gears a little bit, still working within the platform environment, but we're going to go kind of our second topic. You guys are asked to support and do a lot of things. You're asked to do more with less. You're asked to maximize business investment and value, and you got this technology, find ways to use it and maximize the value of what you're delivering. One of the ways to do that is by just simply delivering maps. And that's kind of the setup for the next topic. Delivering simple maps and applications. And you're going to see examples of how you can use the ArcGIS platform right now. Some of you could even do it from your chair, from your phone, to set up maps and applications that you can help people visualize information that they couldn't visualize before. So to walk us through that, I've got Vanessa Ramirez. Vanessa?
Thank you, Adam. So everyone in your organization needs access to maps to complete their everyday tasks. For example, most of your users may need access to an asset map, like the one you see on my screen, so they can discover where things are. Now, today you may be servicing this need using a single web application for the enterprise. But the challenge with this is that each of your business units has a unique set of requirements and data sets that they need to visualize. So by implementing ArcGIS, you can quickly create tailored web maps to serve all of these users, and also empower your users to actually create their own maps. But not only will they be able to create their own maps, they'll be able to do so using the authoritative GIS data. So let me show you just how quickly we can create an asset map and enhance upon the one behind me. My map creation process starts by actually searching what exists within ArcGIS. In this case, I'm interested in my Midland operations. So I'm going to search those keywords in ArcGIS and see that the GIS team has already created a map for me. When I launch the map, you'll notice there's a few key layers to get me started. The first is actually my shale play of interest, and then I have my well pads, along with my top hole locations, which are coming from my IHS subscription. Now, this map is entirely dynamic and interactive, so I can actually zoom to a particular region and focus on an area of interest. For today's demo, we're going to focus on a small set of wells just outside of Midland. Now, I can take my discovery of the data one step further and actually find a specific asset by searching on the data sets in the map. So rather than searching by an address, I can choose to search off of my wells based on the well number. And when I type in that well number, I'll be zoomed to the location as well as see all of the attributes associated with that particular well. So this map is really good at telling me where things are. But what if I want to know what's nearby or what's coincident to this data? I actually have the ability to incorporate other data layers from the enterprise. So for example, I can search to see where my fee leases are with respect to the wells. Now, as I add them to the map, I want you to notice that they come in pre-symbolized and that the pop-ups are actually already configured. So as I build this map, I'm actually adhering to my enterprise standards for data and working off of those central data sets. Now, we recognize that not all of your data is going to reside within the GIS. For example, you may be working with a permitting spreadsheet coming from the government. Using a simple drag and drop workflow, I can actually drop this onto my map and see where those permit locations are with respect to my assets. I can also choose the way that I visualize them. In this case, I'm really interested in new drill activity. So I'm going to select my filing purpose, and then I'm actually going to give my new drill permits a more prominent symbol so they're easy to spot on the map. When I do so, you'll notice that there's quite a bit of new drill activity within my particular area. And if we zoom to the smaller area of interest, you'll see that there's even some new drill activity on the edge of some of my existing leases. So really what we've done so far is build upon an existing map with data from GIS and data from my own machine. Now, I can actually save this map either for later use or for use on another device. So I'm going to call this my Midland Basin Asset Map and actually save it to ArcGIS. I could also print this map or share it with other aspects of the organization to utilize as a collaboration tool. So really, the bottom line is ArcGIS is more than just a platform for delivering maps. It's a platform for your users to interact and build upon existing maps, utilizing the data that you curate, as well as the data that they have on their own machine. Now, because we've created this map in ArcGIS, we natively have the ability to go mobile. So for example, we could pull up the map that I just created in Explorer for ArcGIS. When I do, you'll notice it looks the exact same on my iPad as it did in the browser. So this gives me a connected view into my assets while I'm out of the office. Just like in the web browser, I can interact with the map and actually select on a particular feature to see information about that feature. In this case, we're looking at the lease details. Now, while I'm out in the field, I may observe relationships and changes that I want to take note of. So for example, let's say that this permit needs to move a couple hundred feet down the lease boundary. I can actually mark up on my map to remind myself of the new location of that permit. Now, in the next release of Explorer for ArcGIS, we will support the ability to save and share these markups, as well as the ability to take Explorer into your remote areas using the new offline functionality. But really, the bottom line is apps like Explorer get the authoritative GIS data into the hands of your field personnel and people that are out of the office, so they're always aware of where they are with respect to your assets. So we've talked a little bit about maps over the web and maps on a mobile device. But what about your users that work in Excel each and every day? For example, your operations team may use production data like this one. In this case, I'm looking at production data from January of 2017. Now, traditionally, this kind of information would stay locked in a spreadsheet because it doesn't have latitude and longitude. But utilizing the ArcGIS tools, I can actually take a column within the the spreadsheet, in this case, the API number, and actually match it back to the GIS. So first, I'll plot my January production table, and then for the location type, I'm going to utilize my Midland wells. And the key I'm going to use to perform the match is the API. Lastly, I'll style based on my gas-oil ratio, and then add that information onto the map. So as I do that, you'll notice that Excel quickly plots some graduated symbols that show variations and patterns in the data, spatial patterns that I might have otherwise missed had the data remained inside a spreadsheet. Now, just like in the browser, I can also incorporate coincident data sets. So I can search my organization for those same data sets that we discovered through the web browser. So I can start to build up my map in Excel and focus in on that same area of interest. So really, the bottom line is that we're giving your Excel users a brand new way to visualize this information. And we're also giving them access to the wealth of GIS content that you've created within the enterprise. Now, ArcGIS also provides presentation capabilities. And these span from traditional methods, like placing a map inside a PowerPoint slide, or more innovative methods like story maps, which actually bring together a series of maps to help you present and tell a story about your business. All of the tools I've shown you today can be used to help you make the daily decisions, the daily business decisions. As you make these decisions each and every day, you want all of the information possible to make an accurate decision. So whether you're sitting at your desk, out in the field, or working diligently in Excel, GIS makes that information available to everybody so that we can ensure business decisions are made with the most up-to-date, reliable information. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I hear stories all the time, just simple mapping stories about the person that all they do is look at tabular information. Of course, they use maps all the time in their personal life, but just being able to load Esri Maps for Office into their spreadsheet and actually visualize what they're looking at, and then giving them the ability to actually add other layers of information from your environment into their maps. I've heard all kinds of stories on how excited people have gotten about that. So that's a really simple and quick win way. You all have access to that right now, and you can actually start funneling that capability out to the customers that you support in your business.